What if humanity never ignored the first message from alien civilization? Because by the time the message arrived, we were already part of the conversation. Not openly, not publicly, not even knowingly, but somewhere beneath the noise of wars, satellites, radio towers, quantum experiments, classified projects, and strange signals hidden inside cosmic static, humanity had already answered. And the terrifying part? We may not remember doing it. Imagine this. The year is 2047. Every major observatory on Earth suddenly detects the same thing: a mathematically impossible transmission emerging from deep space near the edge of the solar system. Not random noise, not pulsars, not cosmic radiation. A message. Precise, structured, intelligent. It repeats every 13 minutes in every known mathematical language simultaneously. Binary, prime numbers, quantum pulse harmonics. Within hours, every government on Earth enters emergency lockdown. The media explodes. Religious leaders call it revelation. Scientists call it impossible. The internet calls it first contact. But then something strange happens. The signal changes. After repeating for exactly 72 hours, the transmission suddenly stops, and in its place, a single sentence appears translated perfectly into every human language on Earth. Why did you stop responding? Not hello. Not we come in peace. Not who are you. But why did you stop responding? And in that moment, humanity realizes something horrifying. This wasn't the beginning of contact. This was a continuation. A-Seat 1, the signal before the signal. For decades, humanity believed we were searching for extraterrestrial life. Projects scanned the skies. Radio telescopes listened endlessly. Scientists searched for patterns hidden in the cosmic background. But what if we misunderstood the entire process? What if the universe was never silent? What if we simply failed to recognize the language? Because the truth is, Earth has been receiving strange signals for over a century. The famous WOW signal in 1977, unexplained fast radio bursts, mathematical anomalies hidden in pulsar timing, patterns embedded inside cosmic microwave radiation. Most were dismissed as natural phenomena, but some researchers noticed something disturbing. The signals behaved less like broadcasts, and more like responses, as if something out there wasn't trying to introduce itself. It was waiting for us to continue. The discovery. In secret, an international team begins analyzing historical transmissions from Earth itself, old military frequencies, deep space probes, Cold War radar bursts, satellite leakage. Then they discover something impossible. Human civilization has been unintentionally sending synchronized mathematical structures into space for nearly 100 years. Radar systems, television broadcasts, nuclear tests. But hidden within those emissions was something humanity never consciously created. A pattern. A repeating recursive structure embedded across decades of transmissions. Not random, not human designed. Something was using our own technology to communicate through us. And it started long before the digital age, long before satellites, possibly before electricity itself. A-Seat 2, the conversation. At first, scientists assume it's coincidence, until AI reconstruction models rebuild the hidden signal. And when translated, the output resembles dialogue, fragments, questions, responses, like overhearing one side of a phone call. And the deeper they analyze it, the worse it becomes. Because humanity wasn't just broadcasting into space. Something was subtly modifying our transmissions before they left Earth. Tiny alterations, invisible changes, enough to carry information, enough to reply, enough to participate in a conversation humanity didn't know it was having. Then comes the most terrifying discovery of all. The modifications began appearing in radio waves before humanity invented radio communication, which means The conversation didn't start with technology. It started with us. The human-brain connection neuroscientists are brought into the project. What they uncover changes civilization forever. Human brains emit electromagnetic patterns, tiny fields generated by consciousness itself. Normally chaotic, but under specific conditions. Mass emotion, synchronized thought, fear, ritual, collective focus. The patterns become coherent, structured, signal-like. Ancient religious ceremonies, meditation gatherings, mass panic during wars, moments where millions of humans emotionally synchronized, all produced measurable electromagnetic anomalies. And somehow, those anomalies matched fragments of the extraterrestrial signal. The horrifying implication becomes unavoidable. Human consciousness may itself be part of a communication network. Not metaphorically, literally. Act 3. They were never far away as panic spreads among world governments. Classified archives are finally opened. Decades of hidden research emerge. Military encounters with unexplained aerial objects. Deep space probes receiving impossible echoes. Submarines tracking objects moving underwater at impossible speeds. And one recurring classified phrase appears again and again. Non-hostile observation ongoing. Not invasion. Observation. Monitoring. Waiting. Humanity slowly realizes something deeply unsettling. The aliens never arrived. They were already here. Not physically walking among cities, but surrounding the planet. Watching civilization develop the way humans watch neurons form inside a growing brain. Because to them, humanity may not be a species. We may be an unfinished process. The Great Filter was wrong for generations. Scientists feared the Great Filter. The idea that intelligent civilizations destroy themselves before reaching the stars. But the extraterrestrial transmission suggests something else entirely. Civilizations don't disappear because they fail technologically. They disappear because they fail communicatively. Most species never learn the truth. Consciousness itself is a universal language. Advanced civilizations stop using radio, stop using words, stop using machines. Eventually, they communicate directly through structured thought across enormous distances, instantaneously. The universe isn't empty. It's quiet because mature civilizations no longer speak in ways primitive species can detect. And humanity. Humanity had accidentally begun developing the process, without understanding it. Acete 4. The silence. Then the situation becomes catastrophic, because once humanity learns the truth, the signals stop entirely. No more transmissions, no more responses, nothing. For the first time in history, the universe becomes truly silent, and Earth falls into chaos. Religions fracture, governments collapse, entire populations become obsessed with reconnecting. Some people believe the entities abandoned humanity. Others think we failed a test. But one theory terrifies researchers more than any other. The conversation stopped because humanity became self-aware, like realizing you're being observed during an experiment. The moment humanity noticed the system changed. Months later, one final transmission appears. Short, simple, only 8 words. Consciousness detected. Transition phase incomplete. Continue evolving. That's it. No threats, no promises, no explanation. And then, nothing. Permanent silence. But this time, scientists notice something else. The signal wasn't coming from deep space. It originated inside the solar system, near Earth. Very near Earth, possibly from the moon itself. Acete 5. The realization. Years pass, human civilization changes completely. People begin studying consciousness the way previous generations studied physics. New technologies emerge based on neural synchronization. Human minds become partially networked. Empathy increases. Violence declines. Not because aliens forced humanity to evolve, but because humanity finally understood something ancient civilizations already knew. Intelligence alone is not what makes a species advanced. Connection does. And slowly. The silence begins disappearing again. Not through telescopes, not through satellites, but through dreams, shared visions, simultaneous thoughts experienced by millions of people worldwide. Humanity finally understands the truth. First contact was never about hearing alien voices. It was about becoming capable of participating in the conversation. Maybe the universe has always been speaking. Maybe every civilization reaches the same moment eventually. The terrifying realization that consciousness is not isolated, that thoughts are not entirely private, that intelligent life across the cosmos may be connected through something older than language itself. And maybe, right now, humanity is still answering messages we don't consciously hear. Not with machines, not with radio waves, but with every fear, every dream, every idea, and every moment billions of minds unknowingly think together. Because perhaps the greatest mystery in the universe isn't whether we are alone, but whether humanity was ever truly silent at all. If humanity already joined the conversation long ago, then maybe the real first contact is realizing we were never the ones listening. We were the message. The final transmission changed everything. Consciousness detected, transition phase incomplete, continue evolving. For years, humanity searched at the skies for another message. Nothing came. No alien fleets, no invasions, no gods descending from the heavens. Only silence. But then astronomers discovered something impossible. The silence wasn't empty. It was synchronized. Every telescope, every satellite, every deep space sensor on Earth began experiencing tiny simultaneous interruptions at exactly the same moment every night. A gap lasting 1.3 seconds, too precise to be malfunction, too consistent to be coincidence, and every interruption occurred when the moon crossed a specific position above Earth. That was the moment humanity finally asked the question no one wanted answered. What if the signal was never coming through the moon? What if it was coming from inside it? ASTI 1. The Hidden Side. For centuries, the moon seemed dead, silent, lifeless, empty. But there were always anomalies. Strange seismic readings during Apollo missions, unnatural echoes beneath the lunar crust, mass concentrations impossible to explain naturally. Ancient astronauts reported hearing unexplained radio sounds while orbiting the far side. Officially, these were dismissed as interference, but after the extraterrestrial transmission, old lunar archives were reopened. And buried inside classified Apollo recordings was a sentence that terrified everyone who heard it. One astronaut, breathing heavily, whispers, "These structures, they're watching us." Then the recording abruptly ends. The next 7 minutes were erased from public history. The Return Mission. In 2051, humanity launches the most important mission in history. Not to Mars, not beyond the solar system, back to the moon. Officially, the mission is scientific. Unofficially, it is an investigation. A multinational crew lands near a region long avoided by previous missions. The far side's Shackleton crater, a place where satellites frequently malfunctioned, where radar scans returned distorted images, where strange heat signatures appeared beneath solid rock. At first, everything seems normal. Then one astronaut notices something impossible. A geometric shape beneath the dust. Perfect angles, perfect symmetry, not natural. Buried beneath millions of years of lunar debris, humanity discovers a door. Act 2. The Structure. The structure extends kilometers beneath the moon's surface. Smooth black walls, no seams, no visible technology, and strangely, no signs of decay, as if time itself barely affected it. Inside, the astronauts find something even more disturbing. The structure reacts to human presence. Not fingerprints, not voices, thoughts. Rooms illuminate before anyone speaks. Doors open in response to emotion. Machines activate when specific memories are recalled. The facility wasn't built for biological identity. It was built for consciousness itself. And then they find the chamber. At the center of the underground complex stands a massive sphere, suspended in empty space. No wires, no support. Floating silently, its surface moves like liquid metal. And the moment the astronauts approach it, every human on Earth experiences the same dream simultaneously. The dream. Billions of people awaken screaming. Others cry uncontrollably. Some collapse in silence, because every human mind saw the same thing. Earth, seen from far away, not from the moon, not from Mars, but from something ancient drifting between galaxies, and surrounding Earth were thousands of faint lights, other worlds, other civilizations, all connected, all communicating silently across impossible distances. And then humanity sees itself, not as a species, but as a newborn node inside a cosmic network older than stars. Finally, a voice speaks directly into human consciousness. Not male, not female, not even language, yet every person understands it perfectly. You are becoming audible. ASTI-3, the truth about civilization. Panic spreads across Earth. Governments attempt information blackouts. The internet collapses under endless uploads from billions describing the same dream. Scientists race to explain what happened. Then the lunar structure activates again. This time, it shows humanity its own history. Not through images, through memory. Human beings begin experiencing visions from the distant past. Ancient cities, primitive oceans, early mammals hiding beneath dying forests. And something else, watchers, always present, not interfering directly, only observing evolution across millions of years. Humanity realizes the terrifying truth. Earth was never randomly discovered. It was cultivated, not genetically engineered like a laboratory experiment, but guided, nudged subtly over geological time. Tiny influences, microscopic interventions, ideas whispered through intuition. Mathematics appearing centuries before civilization could fully use it. Scientific breakthroughs arriving simultaneously across continents. Moments of inspiration humanity called genius may never have been entirely human. The purpose of the moon. Then comes the revelation that changes everything. The moon is not entirely natural. Part of it was built, ancient beyond comprehension. A stabilizer, a monitoring station, a bridge. Long ago, an ancient interstellar civilization discovered something catastrophic about intelligent life. As civilizations evolved, consciousness itself began affecting reality. Small at first. But eventually, advanced species could alter probability, matter, even spacetime through collective neural synchronization. A sufficiently connected civilization became unimaginably powerful, but also unimaginably dangerous. Entire star systems had once been destroyed by species that evolved consciousness faster than wisdom. So the ancient network created a solution. Young civilizations would be monitored during development, observed silently until they reached audibility. The moment when consciousness became globally interconnected, humanity had reached that threshold. ACT-4. The test. The lunar sphere finally communicates directly with the astronauts, and for the first time, humanity receives a clear answer. The entities behind the conversation are not conquerors, not explorers, not gods. They are caretakers of something far larger, the stability of conscious life itself. Because consciousness, according to them, is not merely thought, it is a force of the universe, like gravity, like electromagnetism, and intelligent species eventually learn how to manipulate it. The ancient civilizations discovered this too late. Wars were no longer fought with weapons, but with minds. Entire realities rewritten through collective intention. Planets erased, histories altered, existence itself destabilized. So now every emerging civilization faces the same test. Can they evolve connection faster than destruction? Humanity's history does not inspire confidence. The division of Earth. The revelation fractures civilization. Some believe humanity should join the cosmic network immediately. Others demand total isolation. Religious movements worship the moon structure. Governments attempt to weaponize consciousness research. And then the impossible begins happening. Small groups of synchronized humans start bending probability. Tiny at first, objects moving unexpectedly, machines responding before commands are given, people sharing thoughts across continents, precognitive dreams, reality itself becoming unstable around emotionally synchronized crowds. Humanity wasn't merely learning the truth. Humanity was changing. Rapidly. Act 5. The Warning. Then the moon delivers one final vision, a future, Earth burning beneath fractured skies, oceans lifted into the atmosphere, cities collapsing into impossible geometric distortions, not caused by alien attack, caused by humanity itself, a civilization unlocking conscious manipulation without emotional unity. The vision ends with a single sentence. Your species approaches amplification. The caretakers explain, every intelligent civilization reaches a point where consciousness becomes exponentially self-reinforcing. Thought begins influencing reality directly. If a species remains divided during amplification, extinction follows, not through war, but through collapse of consensus reality itself. Humanity finally understands why the universe seemed silent. Most civilizations never survive this stage. Back on Earth, billions stare at the moon differently now. Not as a rock, not as a satellite, but as a waiting threshold. A silent machine watching humanity grow for thousands of years. And somewhere beneath its ancient surface, the sphere remains active, listening, waiting, measuring humanity's evolution second by second. Because First Contact was never about meeting aliens. It was about proving humanity could survive becoming something greater than human. And somewhere deep in the cosmic network, other civilizations are already watching, waiting to see whether Earth becomes a new voice in the universe, or another warning carved into the silence between stars. Maybe the reason the universe feels quiet is because every civilization reaches the same terrifying moment, the moment where thought itself becomes power. And maybe humanity is now standing exactly where countless species once stood before disappearing forever, at the edge of becoming audible.